Hi, and welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Martin Bailey, and joining us today is Gary Rayner, MD at AnyIT Limited. Welcome, Gary. Welcome. And thank you for taking the time to join us today. How are you?
Good, very good. Life is happy.
Good to hear. Nice positive start to our chat. So look, probably best place to start off is for you to tell us all about who you are, what do you do?
So AnyIT is what's fondly now known in the industry as an MSP, a managed service provider. Historically, we were known as an IT support company when we were founded back in sort of 2009. We turned into a limited company in 2008, took our first employee in 2009, and then the world's been our oyster thereafter. How we've changed over that period is kind of indicative to the name that we've got. So we used to be an IT provider doing break fix IT support. So computer's gone wrong, can you fix it please? Back then was almost involved about driving out to the person, actually physically fixing it in person, coming back here, doing the accounts work, sending the bill for the work. Whereas nowadays we're much more of a managed service provider, this MSP title that's been bandied around in the last sort of 5 years, whereby not so much now about fixing broken computers and broken hardware, because relatively speaking, they don't break as often as they used to. And people are much more in the mindset to purchase new hardware now than they were, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago. We're much more about now providing the software solutions that attach to your physical computer that allow you to run your business smoothly, safely, securely, and we manage those solutions for you. So that might be something like your Office 365 email, for instance, making sure that that's connected to your backups and your anti-spams, making sure your cyber essentials has been done correctly.
And obviously the big benefit now in terms of efficiencies, you can all do that from your office and you don't have to go to on-site.
Absolutely, yeah. I very recently had a milestone birthday and was at my birthday party with someone who used to work with 25 years ago. And we were reminiscing about the fact of being able to remote into people's computers being something that was just to be dreamed of. Whereas now visiting someone's site is something to be dreamed of. 99% of the work is done within the building now.
That wasn't back in the days of the old Nokia phone, was it?
It's certainly back in the days of Nokia phone, playing Snake, floppy disk drives, servers on wheels rather than in racks was one of the things we very first had.
Okay, so you're giving everybody a little bit of a hint as to what the milestone was. So well done there, well done. The key thing is you've been MD running the business now for 14 years, and I'm sure you've learned a lot in that time. But if you were to rewind that clock back to 2009. Or 2008, is there anything you would do differently now, having all the knowledge that you've now got?
Document.
Okay, elaborate on that for me.
So when you start your business, it's just you, and at some point you'll pick up a member of staff, and you'll then go about the process of trying to disseminate the information inside your brain to their brain, and then at some point you'll end up with 3 staff, 4 staff, 5 staff. And the hardest thing to do is to have your systems and processes in place. If you do that from the start, so when we onboard a new customer, if that had been a process that I wrote in 2005, then it would have been something that could have been iterated on many, many times over the following 19 years. And it would be something that everyone knew, it was ingrained in what we do, and it isn't something that you then have to talk about ever again because you've written the process for it. And trying to do that over and over and over and over again with staff as they come and they go, as you grow and you change, is really difficult if you didn't have a foundation to work from.
Yeah, and I went sort of from I mean, you're absolutely right. Of course, as you document, get your systems and processes into your business as quickly and as early as you possibly can, so that they grow with you and with the business. What if you were to have, if you'd gone back and you were to have those systems and processes in place at that time, what would have been the benefit for you? What would you have seen? What would you got output from that?
The one thing we can't all make more of: time.
Yeah, absolutely, time. So
and if I had more time, what else could I have done? If I had more time because I'd done more document and processing, then would I had time to make better plans or make plans? And therefore, where would I be now if I'd have done that? So really, it's anything you can do to release time back to you is the thing that you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a vicious circle with it, because when you're there on your own and you're thinking about your first employee, you're sitting there going, well, I don't have time to write processes.
Yeah.
So you're in that vicious circle. I don't have time to write processes. Well, the part of the reason you don't have time because you haven't written processes. So had you written, and it's just understanding that pain of writing the process is worth its weight in gold for the next 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not even things like processes. It's business information. It might be passwords, usernames, things you access on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Having that documented somewhere securely, then it is gold in the future. Absolute gold in the future. I mean, the number of times I've been asked, what's that customer's password that you magicked up at some point because you were looking at something on your screen in 2010. What's that password? There's just time. You just lose time.
Yeah. But I mean, so we've touched on time management. Well, I don't like calling it time management because you can't manage time. So time mastery. Let's call it time mastery. What have you done over the years that to really sort of master time, to give you the time to grow your business, give you the time to develop your team, etc.?
So, I mean, within what we do, much the same as accountancy, but most definitely the legal industry is all the time that we do is always recorded. But again, taking it all the way back to the start, I didn't record my time. I didn't bill my time. We actually, I specifically designed the business to be not about time, because I didn't want to spend my time billing people for what I was doing. So we agreed a rate that generally worked on a per PC basis for us, but it could be on per service or whatever it was that anyone was doing. And we then just did the work. And we didn't have to worry about money, because at the end of the day, most people don't like talking about money. It's one of the subjects that we love it, but we hate trying to get it from people. And so I designed that out of the business model. So we actually designed, I say we, I do that a lot. I designed the business so much so that if we were sitting here doing nothing, we've done our job well. That was the way I did it. I'd come from IT and education, and if we'd sat there twiddling our thumbs in a day, I mean, everything was working perfectly. No one had any problems, and everybody was absolutely happy. That was most certainly something that I wanted to build into the business. To make sure that my staff, they give some time to learn and study and become better, and therefore more efficient.
And how do you sort of influence that studying and learning and becoming better? Is there anything you do? Is there anything you specifically, do you have development plans in place for your team? Or
so we do one-to-ones regularly with the staff. We set out what their goals and aspirations might be, either work goals or personal goals, and you then try and keep people adhered to what they want to do. What I found over the years is kind of, and this is being slightly cynical, what people say they want to do isn't necessarily what they want to do or what they do. So sometimes it becomes a little bit of a false process, but nevertheless, there isn't a better way to do it than having a conversation. And you might just get a nugget when you have that conversation with someone.
Yeah, I mean, so some people tell you what they think you want to hear sometimes, which can be frustrating. But at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, the conversation's the key part, and if they choose not to be honest and open with you, then that sits with them. It doesn't sit with you. So at the end of the day, you can't be faulted for that.
I think I was told once by someone far wiser than I was, stop, pause, and think.
Absolutely.
And the power of waiting for someone to say something is the most powerful thing you can do in any one-to-one or any meeting that's even slightly strained. Just sit back, relax, pause, and let the other person speak.
I'm sure the book called Stop, Pause, Think, but I can't remember if there is. I can't remember who wrote it. I'm positive it was a book, but Stop, Pause, Think. You're absolutely right, and that's in every aspect of life, personal and professional. Stop, pause, think is
Knee-jerk reactions aren't necessarily your friend.
No, they're not. I don't. Knee-jerk reaction, knee-jerk emotions certainly aren't your best friend. You're absolutely right, and great piece of advice there. So when you started out, I mean, your business, then financial is very, very important in the beginning. Well, so it's very, very important all the way through, but primarily exceptionally important at the beginning of your business journey. What advice would you give to new business owners regarding financial management, money management when they first start out?
So when we very first started, our accounts were done in Excel, and then we migrated through to Sage 50.
Wow.
Which was great. And then luckily, there's an application coming along called ClearBooks, which was a bit of a precursor to Xero. It still exists. ClearBooks is still out there. We moved to that. It was game changing because we were able to look at your profit and loss, click into a particular account code, and see all the things that related to that account code. Having the correct account codes and having enough account codes for the things that you're billing and paying for really allows you to export that data into Excel if you want and say, over the course of the last quarter, have we overpaid for something, or what growth has there been in which area? And if you've got corresponding account codes to both income and expenditure in your accounting system, then you can work out profit percentages on those account codes. And then you can quite easily look back and say, in any month, are there discrepancies, or are we growing in that area, or should we even be doing that one thing because actually we're making 2% profit on those account codes? Should we be doing it? No. And so having enough account codes, not so many that you can't work with them, but for instance, with what we do, there's probably about 40 or 50 lineup things that we sell. So we've got the corresponding account codes for those things, and they can be grouped and subgrouped. And
it allows you, I suppose, to see, as you stated there, what your most profitable activities are, so you can focus on driving them and do more of them, whilst slowly filtering out the least profitable items at the other end.
Absolutely. There's obviously some necessary evils always in what you do, which are low profit drivers. One of ours is Microsoft Office. Microsoft products. It's a very low margin product for us. It's a very high cost product to us, and it has a big contract commitment cost to us, and a big business risk. But nevertheless, you have to do it. We can't not.
I don't know many people who don't operate with Microsoft Office. That's the thing.
So
we've got the market sewn up.
But knowing that is what's really important, is knowing where that particular weakness may be, albeit you have to have that weakness, knowing where it is, and having those account codes set up correctly at least allows you, even if you don't check them, even if you're not looking at them, at some point when you've managed to master time, you have the data there to go back and look at, and it's there.
Analyze it. Yeah, no, good, great advice there. And in terms of yourself, I mean, obviously your business has grown, from that one member of staff in 2009, you're up to, I think you said,
8 or 9 now, depending on the day.
Yeah, so that's almost like one member of the team per year, almost.
Yeah.
What do you put your growth down to?
Ours is purely organic.
Right. Okay.
We're very lucky. Our business model is designed around our clients. So if our clients grow, we grow.
Yep. Okay.
And that's brilliant. So we generally work on a set percentage per year, so we can almost reasonably rely on that percentage growth every year, which is nice for future planning. Our client base has grown reasonably organically, so word of mouth, physical networking, I think getting out there and talking to people. Recommendation isn't something that tends to work too well in our industry, because I always think it's down to no one wants to recommend their IT provider, because then their IT provider gets busier and their support may go down. So if something you value highly, you kind of want to retain it to be yours. But what we haven't ever done is really had a big plan of where we're going to. And that's something that's certainly changed in the last 12 months. So we now actually have a plan of what we're going to do, going through some acquisitions and a lot of growth. We're looking to move from, say, 8 or 9 members of staff up towards about 20 members of staff in 18 months' time.
Okay.
So we've got that ahead of us now, which is exciting.
No, it's indeed. It kind of leads me on to suppose my final question for today, really, which is, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
So we've got a plan for 3 years' time. So I think it's March or April 2025 is the first milestone, and then 26 thereafter. So we're looking to a little more than double our turnover in that time period. But more importantly, we're looking to double our profit margin over that period as well. So there is when your business hits a certain size, you kind of get on a bit of a hamster wheel, really. You've either got to, some people say grow or die. But to give that a little bit more flesh on the bone is, if you can grow, you'll take the people you have with you. If you don't grow, they don't grow, and you're in this cycle of trying to replace the people, and then you're losing the knowledge that you have imparted to those people and that they've learned, and then you're having to go through that process again, and that in itself can be a very time-consuming, painful process.
Not just time-consuming, can be very costly.
Yeah, exactly, and it's something that we've been guilty of for about the last 5 years, because our aspirations haven't been something that could fit that into it. So that's kind of where we are now, is we have those aspirations, and you're talking about your vision, your mission, and those sorts of things, to be able to then get your team on board and be able to take you to where you want to go to.
So you know, the key message there is to make sure you set yourself big, hairy, audacious goals.
Good enough to be high, yeah. And
don't sit in your safety zone or your comfort zone, because at the end of the day, nothing happens in your comfort zone apart from if you're very comfortable. The magic happens when you push yourself out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, and it really does depend on the type of business. If you're running a business which is all about you, and you are the value that you're adding to it, and you don't necessarily need to be doing that because you are the value.
Yeah.
But if you're running a business that involves staff and lots of staff, there comes a point where having a few more, so being, say, maybe 30, 40 staff members in size, if you sit at that point, there is a natural cycle within those staff members that you account for. You're like, I know there's going to be this number of loss, there's going to be this number of gains, I know we're going to need to be hiring these people each year, and you can plan for it. But when you're sitting at 5, 6, 7 staff, you know, you're hoping no one ever leaves. Because I've got to then go and hire and recruit for that, and you can't just recruit on the knowledge that someone might, because again, that's incredibly costly. So every single stage you're at, there's always something else, and it does.
But there's also the risk. There's also you become beholden to the 7 employees that you've got, and therefore you don't make the right decisions for the business, because there's an element of fear that if I decide to do that, they might leave.
Yeah, absolutely, and you don't want that. You just don't want to do that. And if you can provide an environment that they can grow, if your business model can sustain that, then growth is your friend in that one. It's not true of all businesses, obviously.
No,
there are plenty of businesses which work very well as 2, 3, 4 man bands, and everyone's very good at what they do, and they don't need that size and that scale. But the vast majority of businesses do need that size and that scale, and we're all to make a good return on our investment.
No, absolutely great, and what a great note to finish our conversation on, because there's that piece of advice itself in terms of, if you're starting out day one, don't set yourself comfortable goals. Set your aspirations high enough that you're going to stretch yourself and stretch your business to grow in the right way over that period of time. So, so some great advice and some great nuggets all the way through this. Gary, for people around, you know, the finances, the time mastery piece, etc. So look, what all for me to say today is thank you very, very much for sharing all your knowledge with us. Really, and I'll no doubt speak to you again soon.
Yeah, good one. Thank you very much.